Hey everyone, good morning.
Good morning, Shantanu.
All right. So, topic for today for the next edition of the Creators Cut would be deep funnel optimization for smarter ads and better pipeline. Before starting, we'll just give it a minute or so that all the folks tune into the webinar. Then we'll just get started.
Awesome. Very excited for this topic. This is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. And during the conversation, if you feel like having any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments here, and then we'll just get back to you during the webinar or shortly after. Great.
Oh,
All
yep.
right. I
Yep.
think we can get started. So, a quick introduction from my side. So, this is Shantanu. I am principal engineer here at RevSure, part of the data platform team, actively working on the data side and the customer success side. Prior to RevSure, I was with another startup, ZeoTap, which was in MarTech and AgTech domain. Overall, I have like around 9 years of data experience, and I've been with RevSure for around 4 years now.
And I'm Harry. I've been with RevSure since the beginning of 2024, first as an advisor, then as a principal consultant, and today I'm director of customer success. I've got a 15, 20-year experience with digital paid motion, as well as all sorts of marketing, product marketing, customer marketing, and of course, demand gen, where I've really honed my skills. And the thing that we're talking about today, this deep funnel optimization, is something that I've done over the last 6 or 7 years, starting with Bird Eye and then extensively at Beekeeper as well.
Great. Very exciting. All right. So before diving into the deep funnel optimization, let's quickly talk about what RevSure does. So RevSure is a full funnel AI attribution solution where right from the visitor side of things, where your marketing activities kick in, what kind of pages folks are visiting, what kind of Google ads, LinkedIn ads they are clicking on to reach those web pages. Are they doing organic search or paid search? All of that. From there to tracking the sales activities, the outreach campaigns, sales engagement, other platforms, whatever are being used for email outreaches, calls, all of that. Right there to the closed one side of things where we are tracking status of a deal, and then from there how it enters into the expansion and retention life cycle. So that is like the whole breadth of the sales and marketing stack that we are kind of catering to. And Harry, if you want to talk about the different avenues from a persona perspective as well.
Well, from marketing optimization, we have a couple unique perspectives. We have our traditional multi-touch, like W or linear models, but we also have market mix modeling, where we're able to do all of the regression analysis and AI to kind of determine how each channel is impacting all the others, because it's really a multivariate thing. When you increase search, for example, paid ads on search, you're also ending up increasing organic, and more organic increases branded search and so forth. But we're also able to look at it from several other perspectives. For example, with incrementality testing, we're able to look at what has been working, so you can see at each stage of the funnel what particular channels or campaigns are having the most impact. But it's also important that we can predict what's happening next. And so with our funnel conversion attribution, which uses Markov chain analysis, we're able to predict what particular motion, again, at each stage of the funnel, all of the ones that are listed up there, we can show what will work. So when you have somebody who's at a particular stage, you know the best options from an orchestration perspective to move them to the next stage. And then at the pipeline acceleration, building on all of that, we have all kinds of lead scoring, account scoring, opportunity scoring, which we'll talk a bit about later in the presentation. But we're able to use those scores to help your sales team, your marketing team, or any interested party within your company to know who's able to be moved forward, who's getting stuck, and who you should be focusing on. And then ultimately, all of that rolls up into our revenue predictability, where we can quarter over quarter predict what the pipeline will be generated, what pipeline is going to close, what pipeline may push or pull into the next quarter, and then ultimately how that all rolls up into booking. And so we can predict both overall pipeline and booking.
Great. Yeah, so how all of this is actually made possible is using these 5 different layers. So right from the data ingestion perspective, what we do is we directly integrate with your CRMs, your marketing automation platforms, your data warehouses. We also have our own first-party pixel, which is deployed on your website, which is able to capture all the live traffic in real time, and different kind of chat tools and any sort of offline sources which are not directly integratable. We have like a CSV import capability to kind of bring all of that data into RevSure. Now, once all of that data is brought into the RevSure context, what we do next is harmonize data between these different systems, form our own linkage graph, which is able to connect like from one system, what campaigns, let's say, are bringing data from the top of the funnel into HubSpot, and then from HubSpot, how the data is actually flowing into your bottom of the funnel in terms of like Salesforce opportunities, right? And now, in terms of the prediction capabilities, what we do is we have our own stage-to-stage conversion models and the funnel conversion attribution models that Harry was talking about in the previous slide, where we do our own Markov chain analysis to kind of see which campaigns or which activities are actually driving traffic, or which activities are leading to conversions between MQL and SQL, all of that. Right. So this is all kind of configurable and done on your data set without any external data set involvement. So it is kind of giving you custom tailor-made recommendations based on your sales cycles, your trends that we have seen in the past. Now, augmenting all of this capability is the actionable layer that we have exposed using the agentic AI capability, where we can basically create GTM agents where you can store these different leads, opportunities, and can write back different sort of lead. Let's say a campaign member object in Salesforce. You can sort of set up some automations around, let's say scheduling some emails on top of that, etc. Right? And the last part was the write back capability, where you can write data from RevSure into your own custom models built in, let's say, your data warehouses, your CRMs, or any sort of ad platform, which we'll also cover in detail in the write back capabilities in DDFO. This is all done in real time as well, right? So this is kind of tracking the whole flow from the ingestion side of things to the activation side of things, which is completing the full funnel architecture, right?
I want to add that all of that we just looked at, of course, is SOC 2 Type 2 secure from your HubSpot or Marketo, your CRM, all your sales tools. It all flows into here. So then what is deep funnel optimization in a nutshell? Well, the reality is over the last 10 years, Google, Meta, other ad platforms have gotten incredibly good at getting top of funnel goals. If you need a form fill, they're remarkably good at that. The problem is you can get more and more form fills, cheaper and cheaper, but that's not going to lead to pipeline and booking. What really moves the needle is exposing signals to those platforms that indicate the quality of the lead, the speed that they're moving through the funnel, and more importantly, the signals that are happening after they convert, post MQL, as they're moving towards opportunity and pipeline especially. So we want to stop sending high volume of lead. We still want to send enough leads, but we really want to focus on quality. We want to extend that funnel tracking, again, deeper into the funnel where the real value happens. And we want to send value-based conversions. The biggest problem with sending value conversions into Google or Meta or any other platform like LinkedIn is if you send the same value for every conversion, the, say, average value for an MQL, the average value for an SQO, from the machine learning perspective on the other side, you're treating them all the same, and every lead isn't the same. So we have some really interesting ways of using all of the signals that we've discussed up to this point to create dynamic scores that are very dynamic, very they are in particular less deterministic and more stochastic, which is what the machine learning tools need. And then also we can create synthetic events. So when an activity happens that's really good. It might be something that happens in a conversation. We can send a signal for that, not just your limited funnel stages. And then finally, we can optimize this whole stack and get really focused on lifetime value, because you can do these scorings for any part of the funnel that you're advertising in. So if you're doing expansion, we can push lifetime value in. Particularly with Google, you have 90 days to send signals. So not only do you get that initial conversion, but you're sending incremental conversion as they move through the funnel.
Great. This all seems very exciting, Ari. Can you talk about how RevSure does all of this?
Well, it's really impressive in my mind, but we're taking all of that AI scoring. We're taking our ability to integrate with a variety of platforms like Meta, Google, X, and LinkedIn, and we're sending scores into those platforms. And we're sending essentially a value score every time there's a meaningful action, which can be an actual real-world action, or as I mentioned, it can be a synthetic event, so that it's important, particularly for B2B SaaS companies where we don't have, like e-commerce, dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands of conversions a day. You may be lucky to have a dozen or a half dozen close won deals in a particular time frame. We need to make sure we're sending significant value-based scoring throughout the funnel, particularly post-MQL, as deep into opportunity as you're able within the attribution window. For Meta, it's only a week, but for Google, it's a 90-day, as is it for LinkedIn and Twitter, a 90-day period.
Great. All right. So how we made all of this possible is building a customizable AI-based lead scoring model, right? This is all customizable based on the kind of dimensions that you want to use. For instance, you want to focus on the lead status changes from lead stage to MQL stage, or from SQL stage to maybe pipeline stage, right? You want to track if the leads are actually visiting any specific web pages, or if they had visited any web page at all in some specific certain period of time. What are the different, let's say, dimensions available in Sixth Sense? For instance, if in the screenshot you can see what is the account fit available in Sixth Sense for this particular lead or this particular account, right? And if all of these conditions meet, then you basically assign some value to it, right? And we'll just show that all of it in kind of a demo, how we all made this possible, right? So apart from the customization, right? So you can also use the AI-powered signal that are the RevSure's proprietary AI models make available as dimensions. You can basically say that I want to focus on leads which are, let's say, over 50% more probable converting into pipeline or booking, etc., right? And then we can create all the CRM milestones and any sort of campaign touches as synthetic conversions, where you can basically start exposing so traditionally all the, let's say, ad platforms kind of limit their visibility around top of the funnel conversion activities like a form fill, or a page visit, right? What we say is that, once you enter the bottom of the funnel, that can be modeled as a synthetic conversion, and that information can be written back into Google Ads or LinkedIn Ads, for instance, right? And then last point is we integrate with different sort of platforms like Google, Meta, and LinkedIn, and even X as well. So in order to kind of send this information back as soon as possible, and we make it as fresh as possible, right? We have we support multiple write backs per day. It can be done on an hourly cadence, it could be done on a 6-hour cadence, and so on, right? All of that. So now let's jump into, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add, when we're thinking about all that scoring, you can use a traditional kind of account score that you might find in Marketo or HubSpot. But the problem with that kind of scoring is it often leads to highly deterministic scores that offer a very limited range of scoring. Everything kind of optimizes around a few discrete points in the scoring system. So again, part of the goal of Deep Funnel, as I mentioned, is to be a little bit more stochastic than deterministic. So you really have very dynamic scoring, and that's what we're able to accomplish. Let's show them how we're able to do that.
Yeah. All right. So let me share my screen quickly. All right. So we'll just quickly go into the prioritization model section available in the application. And here you can see different sort of models that are already created. We'll just quickly see how to create a new model. It's very simple, just with some few clicks, you can just, kind of get started with that. So I'll just put some sample score. And there are like three types of scores that we support out of the box. One is like a numeric score, then you can do like a percentage driven score or like a dollar value score. And then you can choose like which entity you want to kind of focus on. So you can store your leads, opportunities, or accounts, right? So let's go with leads for now. And then you can set like a default score. So let's say, every lead is, out of the box given a 10 score. You can also filter your lead segments in the sense that maybe you want to focus on leads that are actually coming from paid social only to kind of start the scoring process, or you can just kind of do like leads which have basically touched some email or leads which have touched a specific campaign, all of that, right? So so we can just start with, yeah.
Or particular life cycle or particular, we don't know the opportunity yet, but you might have some geographic segmentation that's also possible.
Right. So now exactly, we can just say that, the lead status is, let's say, pre-sal, then assign, maybe 100 value to the base score. Or you can just kind of say that if the lead status is disqualified or like unqualified, we can just say like we can do like multiple values. So we can say it is an unqualified or maybe nurture currently, right? So we can just say set this value to 0 because you don't want to kind of focus on these leads as they have already been kind of moved out of the funnel. And so on, you can kind of keep adding more conditions to it. You can just do like and conditions or conditions kind of suit however you want to set up the scoring process, right? So this is just like a simple example of this. And once that is done, you can just save the store and then you're just up and running. Now, what's powering the complexity of this is our, capability to support custom dimensions, right? So we saw there were some simple dimensions like lead status, right, or industry, all of those dimensions, right? But what really makes this very powerful is the ability to create like logical dimensions on top of these base dimensions, right? So for instance, we have this title bucket that has been set up, which is like a simple, you can say bucketing, logic that has been applied on the title of the lead, right? So we can say that if the title contains paid, demand, or growth, this is like a, demand title bucket. If the title contains like CEO, CMO, all of that, it is like a senior, and then rest of the other things are kind of bucketed into all others, right? So this is like a simple logic, and we can obviously extend it to however complexity we want to do that, right? What additionally powers these lead scoring models is the set of AI dimensions that are made available to the end user in order to set up these scoring, right? So for instance, we can see that these are all conversion scores that are available. For instance, this is the pipeline conversion probability for overall. We also have like quarterly scoring, score dimensions. So this, for instance, is like the pipeline conversion probability for 3 quarters down the line. We also have like booking conversion probabilities, and we also have like the fit score, which is kind of like an intent score associated with different sort of leads. We also have like the normalized score. All of these dimensions are available to you to set up these lead scoring capabilities. Now, what is powering these AI-based dimensions is our whole set of projection configurations that are exposed to you, right? So here you can make the judgment of which stages do you want to focus on in terms of your pipeline definition or your booking readiness, all of that, right? Which segments do you want to use? Which dimensions do you want to use for tracking your conversions between these stages? And this is what will basically be used to set up the heuristics on your past data set, right? You can also set up like you want to look at quarterly projections or monthly projections, and if quarterly, then how far out you want to look at in terms of conversions, right? So for instance, here we have selected like 4 quarters out of this, and then there are like a whole lot of, dimensions that you can kind of pick and choose from. in this set of configurations, right? So I'll just move forward with an example rule that has been set up within RevSure. So this is a meeting book rule where we have just made use of the title bucket that we had just seen in the custom dimension screen. And what we are doing over here is just a simple lead and a number-based score where the default value starts from 0. And then based on the different title buckets, we have different rules set up initially. And as we go down, you can see that the scope is not just limited to title bucket. We have now annual revenue of an account also coming into the mix, right? So if it is like an enterprise account, just add like a higher score value to it. If it is like a mid-market, then just like reduce it somewhat. And if it is like a startup or a small segment, then just kind of reduce it by 80% or by 20% or so. Right. And then alongside this, earlier I was mentioning about the page visit activity. So for instance, you want to look at like what are the kind of web pages that each lead is visiting. So if they have visited the home page or the blog page, then add some components to your score. Then alongside that, you can also do what kind of G2 activities that they are engaging with, what kind of digital activities that they are engaging with. Have they interacted with LinkedIn? Have they interacted with Google? All of that, right? So you can basically kind of keep extending your context for scoring to as many number of dimensions, as many number of conditions as possible. And this whole thing will basically then be applied on the entire data set that you have. And you can see all of it in real time. So here we have like a preview where you can see this tool meeting booked. And these are the different leads that are available, right? So these are the emails, these are the number of activities, these are the activity timestamps, these are the account names, all of that. And then here you can see what is the score that was generated at the end of the day for these leads, right? Now, once we do all of that, we also additionally have the capability, as I mentioned, to use the AI-based dimensions. So this is, for instance, one score that has been using the booking conversion probability. So it says that if the booking conversion probability is, let's say, greater than 1%, just multiply the score by the booking conversion probability. So if this is like a 50% conversion probability, then your score will become 50. If it is like 70%, then your score will become 70. And then rest of the conditions will follow through after that. So this is like a sequential evaluation on the entire condition patterns. And here you can see like if it is SMB, just increase the score by 10%. If it is mid-market, increase by 80% and so on, right? So these are the different examples of how you can set up scores using different sort of standard dimensions, custom dimensions, and even the AI-based dimensions that are available in the RevSure context, right? Now, once all of that is done, you can basically use these scores across different modules. So here is like a simple drill down available where you can see, again, the list of leads alongside the different sort of scores that have been already set up. And you can sort through these scores, you can filter through these scores, you can kind of define your own custom statements. You can say that, the score is greater than some value or less than some value, and then that will just basically kind of create like a list for you that you can track across the module, right? Now, the write back capability is something that is available in the Data Hub module of RevSure. So here you can see that these are like the different integrations that have been already set up within the RevSure platform. And let's look at Google Ads, for instance. So once we click on Google Ads, you can see the different conversion actions that are available within Google Ads already. And if we go into the mapping section here, we have the capability to kind of enable the write backs across these different conversion actions, right? So for instance, we have chosen the meeting booked conversion action already. And you can see that this particular score has been mapped to the conversion value. So for Google, whenever we are writing back this information, we write back alongside the GCL ID associated with the lead, the email, the phone number in hashed formats, and alongside the score that you define. And you can basically choose the score to be any score of your choice that you would have defined in the prioritization models, right? And then you can set up like multiple scores. So for instance, we have set up one for meeting book, we have set up one for MQL over here. And then as soon as you just set up from the next thing, it starts writing all of the data back. And it's not just about data going forward, even the historical data that we would have captured since the deployment of RevSure would be used to kind of bootstrap data within these conversion actions, right? And once all of this activity is done, you can also kind of track, what is the progress of each write back. So, right, for instance, you can see within this Google ad, 1,600 records were written back successfully, 10 records failed, and you can also export like the logs for what is the status, what is the failure reason, and all of that is made available so that you can have like full traceability across each of these write back actions. Now coming to the analyzing part, right? So once you have started writing back data into these different platforms, how do you measure success of these write backs, or if it is actually having any influence on, let's say, conversions or the deep funnel events that we were talking about specifically, right? So all of this is again possible within the RevSure platform itself. So here is like a simple view where you can see like what is the different what is your spend across different months, and what is the pipeline ROI that you can kind of see increasing month over month. So for instance, here we have like 94K spends, but around 7x ROI. Here we have 71K spends, but 15x ROI, and so on, right? And then obviously you can filter it to any source system. Again, like you want to focus on, let's say, Google ad, you want to focus on LinkedIn ads, etc., etc. So all of these kind of filtering capabilities are just available right inside this module. And again, you can set up like different sort of metrics that you want to track. You can track like signups. You can track like what is the conversions in terms of opportunities that have been driven by, let's say, LinkedIn, Google, etc. You can do it at campaign source system. You can do it at channel level. You can do it at individual campaign name level. All of that, right? And alongside that, we also give the capability to use the AI projections associated with every campaign, every channel, every source system. So it can just say that, how much you have actually generated and what is the total potential of the campaign. So in this case, you can see that Google would be projected to close like $10.5 million worth of booking, in this year, and similarly for pipeline as well. And then you can basically kind of track different metrics like MQL volume, SQL volume, impressions, clicks, and all of that. So yeah, that was it from the demo perspective. I'll hand over this to Harry now to kind of go through the case study that we have with one of our customers. And Harry, please go ahead.
So we're going to talk about Agent AI, agentic AI system that's super powerful. It's grown from a couple hundred users almost a little over a year ago to over 2.1 million signups. What I really want to focus on, that the real value in this whole process of deep funnel optimization is when we add that AI, when we add that AI scoring, and we're able to send those signals back. We're able to get better leads generated and targeted, particularly in the B2B environment. We're able to cut the cost per opportunity and cut the cost per closed won deal. Now, Agent AI is not a monetized platform, so here we're focused on getting those signups and driving efficiency there. We went from very expensive signups to they went from a sign up of $20, $30 to less than $1, ultimately even significantly lower than that. Let's go to the next slide. During a particularly busy scaling period at the beginning of 2025, the budget was going up, and they were really trying to hit that first 1 million signups. And you can see that these metrics were really impressive because the right signal was being sent to Google. They're able to drive that incredible weekly growth, and ultimately a sign up far less than $1. And that was really impressive. But the bottom line, the overall focus here is simple. You find the meaningful signals within your total funnel. So you need to have access to all of the data sources, CRM, map, sales tools, marketing tools, all of your ad networks. You find those right signals, you score them dynamically using AI scoring especially, and then you're able to send those signals and get meaningful results. I think we go on.
Right.
Shantanu, I think the demo was fantastic. Obviously, we'd love to help customers do this, to help them not just with deep funnel, but their whole marketing optimization, their sales optimization. But it's really powerful. As I was saying before, you can really cut significantly. At one company where I first started doing this about 6 years ago, was able to cut the cost per closed won deal, was SMB, from over 3,000 per closed won deal to under 900 And anyway, it can be super powerful. And I really hope people have some questions, and we can go from there.
Great. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks for all your experience on this, Harry, and hope everyone kind of enjoyed going through this with us. And yeah, we are happy to get in touch with you. We have just dropped in our emails. If you have any questions or queries, just either drop in the comments or feel free to reach out to us greatly. Great.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.